Hey y'all, this is Allison. I'm hanging out in my space to craft and I've run out of pictures to scrapbook at the moment. I do have one more portrait of my daughters to do, but I've done 2 of those pages, so I thought I'd do something different tonight. I have this old, my dogs are going crazy. I have this old page kit from the treasure box. It's vacation themed. It's real cute. So what I thought I would do, what I like to do with these is when I'm not feeling creative particularly, I put together one of these. I don't plan all the photos yet. I'll do some of the matting of photos, but then I just hold that until I have the pictures and I decide how I want to modify the pictures. So just hang out with me while I do this. Now with the treasure box, they ink everything. So I'm going to be doing a lot of inking here. So I'll speed it up or whatever and just hang out with me. I'm going to modify things a little bit. Let me show you the layout. So I'm feeling like this is a lot and heavy, so I'm going to put one suitcase over here with the camera and probably another suitcase over here. And I don't love this in this big arc like this, so I'm probably going to try and take it just across. But you can see there's some inking on these, little pen work and stuff like that. And I think that I have what I need for the camera. I think it's just a button, but I'm not positive about that. I might need a second button on top of that. I'm pretty sure that's a button and then another button on top. So let's get started. First, I'm going to go rescue my dogs. I think they've cornered a possum. Well, that turned into an adventure. They had indeed cornered a possum, a little tiny baby possum that fell off its mama's back. Here I'm just prepping the pages. I went down there, I tried to get my dogs away, and one of my dogs decided she wanted to take the possum inside with her, so she grabbed it. So I rescued the possum from my dog's mouth, and then I couldn't just leave it in the yard, so I took it to a friend's house. Their dog recently passed, so they don't have a dog in their house, and we gave it some water and set it in a box on their back patio so it would have time to recover a little bit. And in the morning it was gone. It had recovered and run off. So a little bit of possum adventure. So I'm just starting to do the inking. I'm using a white gel pen on the camera so that those marks show up. I'm using black ink on the gray things, and then the instructions said actually to use a shade darker than the cardstock for inking everything else. And so you'll see me pull out a whole bunch of different inks. So I like to use glue dots for things like buttons and often ribbon and things like that. I find that glue dots work really well for that. There was some ribbon on here, so again, I'm going to pull a glue dot, and I just put the glue dot on the back. And that way you're not getting a wet mess with liquid glue or something like that. Liquid glue would work, but what I like about using the glue dots is they're immediate, right? There's no seepage, there's no drying time. So they're really handy for this type of thing. So these suitcases were really cute and, pretty simple to make. Obviously, I didn't cut them out. They came in the kit this way. But I love the idea of the little ribbon straps around it. I thought it was really, really cute. So I'm just going to build the ephemera, and then I have it to play with on the page. And that's the basis of the page, really, is putting the title together. The most complicated thing of the title were the little fuzzies that are behind the title letters. And so that took a little time and a little doing. I'll show you at least some of that, not all of it. So I'm just picking an orange for these arrows, and I did the arrows differently than it showed on the layout. They had the arrows going away from the page, and I always have that philosophy: you should be pointing into the page and not out of the page. For anything like arrows or birds should be looking into the page, not out of the page. And so I repositioned the arrows a little bit. It did complicate things a bit because I didn't get it across the two pages as much as they showed it, but I was happier with the way the arrows went. So just inking all the letters, lots of inking. They do lots of stitch work on things, a lot of pen work. So even though it comes as a kit, these things still take quite a bit of time. But it's also relaxing because you're not having to think too hard. You're just doing, and you're still creating, but you're not having to invent. And so sometimes it's a nice break to do something like this when you're stuck, or in my case, I ran out of pictures, or I just wasn't in the mood to create a new page right now. And so getting one of these taken care of. My friend had been a subscriber, and she had a whole bunch, and she stopped paper scrapbooking. She was just doing electronic. And so I bought a bunch of these off of her. So I have a stash of them. And sometimes they're quite a bit more complicated than what I would do with the lettering and all that kind of stuff, but they're a lot of fun. So just doing a little bit of pen work on these, and I'm using the white just to make them bright, like they're shining, because I've got this stuff. I don't know what else to call it. It's like tinsel. It's like teeny tiny tinsel. So I'm just pulling enough out for each letter just to make sure I don't overdo it or underdo it on any of them. Just trying to make sure I have about an equal amount. And I start trying to do it, just use some liquid glue on the back, and then trying to pick it up and squish it on the back. This method didn't work fantastically. It worked okay, but I wasn't getting enough sticking out really. And so I'm going to change my method here in a few minutes. And it works a little bit better, but it kind of makes a bigger mess. But that's okay. So I'm just sticking it on there and then trimming, because I want, you want little hairy bits sticking out. So, and some of these little strings are pretty long, so I'm just trimming them up. It's kind of fun. It's something I don't do very often. It's not like I keep this stuff around. It's just in these little kits. All right, so I've got 3 letters done. At some point, I'm going to pull in my silicone mat. Here it is. And I'm just going to put all the bits on there, and that way I can just, instead of using my fingers to squish them onto the back, I can just pick up the bits. And that method works a lot easier, I think a lot faster for the rest of the letters. So if you have anything like this, this is what I recommend. Just use your silicone mat and go to town on it. And we'll finish that up. So those are all done. As I said, I'm putting them straight across, and I decided I wanted to put to spread out the little suitcases. There are a couple of sentiment lines, and I'm just going to, of course, ink those. And just trying to get them a little bit evenly spaced. And that's honestly the basics of the layout. The next thing I want to do is, they had, pictures spread out around the page, and they do provide cardstock for the for matting the photos, and some white cardstock. I don't tend to use the white cardstock, especially if I'm going to use matted photos with a border. However, there were also a couple of like Polaroid shaped mats on there, so I am going to choose to make those. I was a little worried I wasn't going to be able to glue these down, but they glued down fine, these letters. And I'm doing them, crooked. So that's the next step. And then I will just keep the rest of the cardstock with the page kit for when I have photos, and then I can modify it. And their kits came with 3 2-page layouts in every kit. So I have one more from this kit that I need to work on, and it's like a big giant map, and it says, "Oh, the places we'll go." So that one's going to be fun to do as well. Hush now. And just tucking that in. So I'm really pleased with that. I just need to get the arrows down. And I did that so that I have space for a photo, so that arrow could be pointing toward a photo there, a portrait photo. And I did not pop this up because it's pretty dimensional with those double buttons on there. So that's a simple base page, essentially. Now let's make a couple of, and I'll be honest, I did not make these quite big enough. I was guessing at the size, and I really could have gone a little bigger. It's going to take some pretty small photos to fit on these, but I was stuck and I didn't want to waste the paper. So I should have gone a little wider. I was trying to fit 2 on one page. That isn't going to work. This needed to be wider. Lesson learned. I should have done it, I think 3 inches or 3.5 inches. I think I did it 3, and I should have done it 3.5 or 4. So it's going to take some small, like 2.5 by 2.5. And then because it was so narrow, it looked a little out of proportion, so I had to trim a little off. They are real cute, though. I can make pictures work. I'll make it work. It's okay. And if not, I can do journaling in one of them if I needed to, or put additional travel ephemera on there. So, and I decide that can go just there right in the middle. For now, I'm just going to do a tiny bit of repositionable adhesive because I don't know where it will really end up going. So this is how I do them for photo mats. So there we are. Please give this video a thumbs up. I know it's something different than I usually do, but I just wanted to bring you how I craft sometimes. Thanks a lot, you guys, and subscribe for more content.